Alright, here's a short video of how I hooked everything up. This is the 48 volt power supply. Main powers go here. Your 48 out go here. Go into the case. 48 volts connects to the mains here. So you line neutral, ground, and that shares to the 48. And then the 48 volts for the motors goes here for motor power. And then the 24 volts goes to the power for the board. These two have all these pins in. So see this only has one. For the red ones, you have to have all of them in. So that top row of red should have pins in all of them for just these two. And if you're gonna put these in 48 volts or higher, there's a jumper. See that jumper for these two? On top of those, they'll have the same jumper, and it should be in that slot instead of the slot that it's currently in. The slot that it's currently in, that's for 24 volts to go off this power supply. If you switch it to the other pin, it goes to this power supply, which is the 48 volts. So this is my X, this is my Y, this is my Z. It should be just plug and play for the stepper motors. I flipped it around, tried different pins out, and I was having issues, and I put it back to normal, and the Z worked just fine. For your Z optical sensor, I plugged it into the probe sensor. You're going to have to move the two outer wires. So this wire will go here and this wire will go here from the factory. And then for my filament runout, I put it in the Z spot, end stop number 2, because it works with 5 volts. And that's going to work with your filament runout. You just have to put it in the firmware. And then this is your bed heater. These two wires also have to be flipped around. When you first get it, the red's going to be on the bottom and the black's going to be on the top. You have to flip it around like I have it. And then these are your lights and your fans for your exhaust intake fans. And then here's going to be your bed temperature sensor and your chamber temperature sensor. Let's see what else. This is the CAN bus wire. And then here's my ADS 1220. And then I got like resistors and stuff mounted on the back. And then inline resistors with the 2 signal wires. I'm going to have to post a diagram onto this video or separate explaining how I did it. There's another resistor here for the DRDY, I believe it is. So it also smooths out the signal. This is a ferrite choke. And then I got 2 more ferrite chokes here coming from. This is the Cat 6 cable that goes to the load sensors on the board. So I'll have to explain it a little better, but just a quick show of how I did it. And then all the jumpers, make sure all your jumpers are correct. That jumper should be out. This is the USB jumper. If that jumper's in and you're hooked up to your 24 volts or your 48, you'll burn everything out. So you make sure you unplug that when you're done programming everything. This is your probe one, like I was saying. You have to change the 2 outside wires. And then this probe runs off of 24 volts. So you just move this pin to this slot. You see there's 3 slots. The first slot's 5 volts, 12 volts, and then the last slot is 24 volts. And then you want this resistor in here too, because that does like a pull up. I believe it's pull up for the sensor, and you need that. And then I have it in sensorless home stall guard mode, so you need all these pins. Only for Z, I took it out because Z is going to be using the optical sensor, this optical sensor. And since I'm using this slot and I'm using the optical sensor, you want to take that out so you could use this slot for your filament runout then too. I think that's it. I think I covered all the connections. So there you go. Here's how it looks mounted to the screen. This is the camera. This is the Octopus Pro. Here's the camera. I just pretty much cut the wires, found an old USB cable I had, cut it, matched the wires up. If you look on the old Elegoo board. It'll tell you which pin's positive, which pin's negative, which one's your signal wire, and you just match it up. I pretty much desoldered one of the pins, one of the connectors off the board, soldered the wires to it, and then I just plugged the factory cable into it. And then this is the regular USB cable that goes into the Octopus Pro right there to there. That's a load sensor with all my homemade filters and stuff on there. And they're soldered on the back side, which I have liquid tape. I'll have to add a video or some schematics later how I did that. And then I just have to upload my printer config, and that's it. One more thing I like to add is these two fan slots here, 7 and 6. These are always on, and that's where I plug my fan in to cool down the stepper motors. Is a 120 millimeter fan. I gotta extend these legs out. I'm waiting for the screws to come in, but yeah, that's the fan slot I use. I use slot 7. You can use either or, and that'll keep the fan on all the time at full blast. These jumpers right here, I'll move this wire up a little bit. This jumper right here is 24, 12, or 5 volts, depending how what kind of fans you get. So the one I'm using is 24 volts, so it's in the 24 volt slot. All my stuff is in 24 volts. But yeah, if you want to control the fan through the firmware, go into slot 5 or 4, and then you could make your custom G code to run like at 30% when you're not printing, and then when you're printing, you can have it bump up to 100% or whatever you like, so you reduce noise.